They met annually from the end of World War II until 2014, and now they're back on the schedule for the first time in 7 years. Is Notre Dame on upset alert with Purdue coming to town? Notre Dame hasn't exactly performed up to what they expected to perform these first 2 weeks. An overtime game against a Florida State team who since has lost to FCS Jacksonville State, and a MAC team in Toledo. Jack Coan needed to go down the field in the final minute and undislocate his finger to defeat the Rockets at Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame's defense is not playing well. 89th in the country in total defense, giving up 393 yards per game. When you look at this matchup against Notre Dame's defense, Jack Plummer, the quarterback for Purdue, is coming into his own as one of the better second-tier type of quarterbacks in the Big Ten Conference right now, and he's got a pretty good target to throw to. David Bell, one of the best receivers in the Big Ten, if not college football. He took over where Rondale Moore left off at Purdue as the top receiver on the team, and he's elevating Purdue into a wide receiver factory. Notre Dame's strength is their front seven, although Kyle Hamilton is back there at safety, one of the best safeties in college football. When you don't have the balance and you don't have the running game to keep Notre Dame on their heels, it's a pretty easy defensive game plan for the Irish. So although Purdue seems like a one-dimensional offense, that one dimension is pretty darn good, and it could give Notre Dame troubles. Notre Dame has a really good offense. They have really good personnel from Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree, the running backs, Jack Coan, the transfer quarterback, and the matchup nightmare in Michael Mayer. They have a good offense, but there is a weakness. The offensive line right now is a weakness. 6 sacks allowed against a MAC team, Toledo, at home. Yes, 6 sacks. Florida State sacked Jack Coan 5 times. That's 11 sacks in the last 2 games. And how does that play into Purdue's favor? George Karlaftis, the 2-time second-team All-Big Ten defensive end, had 2 sacks in 3 games in a COVID-shortened 2020 season. He had 7.5 sacks in 2019. He is one of the best pass rushers in the Big Ten, one of the best defensive players in the conference. If the trend continues where Notre Dame is not very good at the tackle position and allows a good opposing pass rush, that could cause issues for Notre Dame, especially if those sacks and those hurries occur on 3rd down and force Notre Dame to punt. So you're not going to be able to stop the run. Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree, they're going to get theirs in this game. The run defense is not great. We've seen when Jack Coan is able to have time, he can pick apart defenses. He has really improved from his days at Wisconsin to now his transfer days at the University of Notre Dame, and he has a matchup nightmare for this Purdue defense. There's no getting around it. Nobody in Purdue's defense can cover Michael Mayer. There are very few people in college football that can cover Baby Gronk, Michael Mayer. He is such a unique type of player, big-bodied, box you out, but he can get down the field, break tackles as well. Purdue can't cover him. I think Michael Mayer is going to have a big day in this one. It's going to be a shootout. A lot of yards, a lot of points on the scoreboard. Purdue has a good pass rush, but so do Notre Dame. They have 5 sacks in each of the first 2 games. That's 10 sacks total. This is a Notre Dame team that can get after the quarterback. Jack Plummer is going to have to get rid of the football quickly. I'm not sure Purdue's offensive line can handle the pass rush of Notre Dame in this football game. Get rid of the football quickly. Where that hurts Purdue is David Bell is not able to develop his routes. If they want David to get involved, slants, flat routes, catch, yards after the catch is what David Bell is going to have to do. Purdue maybe can win in a shootout. Maybe you can go tick for tack. Plummer can go tick for tack with Coan. Maybe David Bell gets a couple of big plays down the field and they're trading scores for a while. If Purdue wants to pull the upset, that seems to be what they have to do. Match Notre Dame's scoring, get a couple of stops, have Karlaftis maybe get a couple of big sacks. Remember, next week, Notre Dame plays a big neutral site game against Wisconsin. Could they be looking ahead and looking past a Purdue team? A Purdue program that has only beaten Notre Dame 5 times since 1986. I want to hear your thoughts. Is Purdue prime for an upset? Are they due? They've only beaten Notre Dame 5 times since 1986. Maybe they're due for one. And maybe Jeff Brom is going to get his second big upset in his career as head coach at Purdue. Or is Notre Dame going to get back on the right track before their game against Wisconsin next week? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for daily Big Ten content. We'll see you next time.